welcome to the show.
Hey,
And thanks for coming out.
of course. How you doing?
Awesome, awesome, awesome. What about yourself?
Doing great. Just enjoying this nice day, nice weather. San Diego.
Cali
Can't beat
weather,
it, man. Cannot beat it.
Beautiful. Well, listen, my friend, it's been a few months since we had a chance to work together. You know, we
Yeah.
had the residency, the jazz residency. You of course went to Cal State Long Beach.
That's right.
Okay, got it. You studied jazz there.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. That's a great school, and there's a lot of very well-known players like John Patitucci, for example, that have gone there. So, first off, what is a little bit before you got to the college level, the college scene of music? What was like for you as you were exploring the directions that you wanted to go into musically? In other words, you know, are you originally from the U.S. or how did you get introduced to jazz and to music? Tell me a little bit about
sure.
that.
So I actually was born in London, but I only lived there until I was 4, and I moved to San Diego. When I was 4. So I've been here basically my whole life, aside from when I was going to Long Beach. But as far as music goes, though, I actually kind of started playing late. I started playing in high school. I picked up my first guitar when I was a sophomore. So I started playing kind of late, but back then I was playing a lot of Beatles and, you know, like Sublime and all the like pop stuff that everyone loves, and, you know, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I started to take it more seriously when one of my friends, Ted Wayers, great guitarist, he came back from MI, Musicians Institute, and he had a whole packet of theory and all this knowledge he had just gained, and he was teaching me. So learning about modes and all of the music theory stuff kind of made me really fascinated with it, and made me decide, okay, maybe I want to major in music instead of computer science. So at that point, I started taking lessons from some players down here as well, like some more professional players like Fred Coons, and he's a great player, great flamenco player, but he taught me how to play jazz and how to read and everything to get me ready for that audition at Cal State Long Beach that I would eventually take.
So wonderful. Okay, so going to Cal State Long Beach, again, I mean, I actually went to high school in Long Beach, so I know the area, but traditionally you would think someone would want to go to Juilliard or to Berkeley. So what made you want to kind of sort of stay locally? Because obviously your family was in that area. Right?
Yeah.
As opposed to going abroad, was there something in particular? Or?
It was for a lot of it is the price of, you know, some of those like higher end schools you have to get a very high scholarship to go to, and I wasn't quite working with that. Again, I was actually fairly new to jazz playing at the time, so I also knew that Cal State Long Beach had a great guitarist teaching there, Ron S.J., who is one of the best jazz guitarists of all time. He played with Ray Brown, and you know, he's been around the scene forever. So he's played with Joe Pass. I mean, he's just a monster player. Yeah. So I thought of it more as like, there's an opportunity to play with, you know, like study with Ron S.J. and go to a pretty well-renowned school that is, you know, in the network of this area, and, you know, not too far from family and whatnot. So I feel like it was a win-win all around there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How many years did you live in London before you came to the U.S.?
I lived there till I was just 4 years old. Yes, 4 years.
So you don't remember a lot about it, I guess.
Very, very minimal. Yeah.
Okay, you lost the London accent.
I had it when I had it in kindergarten. I know that for sure. I remember having it in kindergarten and maybe first grade, but after that I became Americanized.
Okay. Stylistically, where would you say you fall, you know, yourself as an artist, you know, in the jazz world? You know, because obviously there's many types of jazz. Where would you say you fall just naturally?
Yeah, so it's interesting because as a jazz guitarist, you know, a lot of people would assume, you know, someone who's playing jazz guitar plays like Wes or, you know, like Herb Ellis or Joe Pass, and I actually found myself never really like going in that direction. I always actually listened to a lot of horn players and pianists. I think I got a lot of my style from there. So I actually kind of like, I guess the guitarist I align myself most with would be Jim Hall.
Okay.
And then that kind of a mix of Jim Hall and like some of the more contemporary guitarists like Gilad Exeman, Kurt Rosenwinkel. I like a lot of those guys too. So I'm very much like in the middle of contemporary jazz and like bebop, kind of like right in the middle, I'd say.
Okay, so as an artist, you know, everybody has their skill set. You know,
sure.
Some are a little bit more in the front and naturally geared toward, you know, sort of a promotional sort of thing, and others are just sort of, you know, let's just kind of bring it together and let's kind of shine more as a unit. What would you say you find yourself?
It's interesting. Like, I try to be able to do both.
Okay.
Because I have like definitely, you know, like hosted trios where I'm like the front man calling all the shots. And I do like playing, like when it comes to jazz, I do love playing trio the most.
Mm-hmm.
I think a guitar, a bass, and a drum, like it gives me a lot of room to not only leave a lot of space, but to say a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
But I also enjoy being in the background too, and like, you know, taking the killer solo here and there, you know, like kind of as we, you know, we've done in your groups a lot of times. So I try to be able to do both, but I do think my overall preference, maybe to be in the front of like a jazz trio, is kind of my.
You like the room, you like the space.
Yeah, that's just my preferred
lyrical,
sound. Correct, right.
Expressive.
Yeah, I like to have. I also like that aspect of it because it gives the other musicians more room too. I think like less can be more, and duo can be great too.
Sure.
So you remember I hosted those duo gigs at the hotel gigs back in the day.
I do. I did a few of those.
Yeah, and that was always interesting because there's always a conversation with whatever instrumentalist I was playing with at the time. There was always this back and forth, and I always found that to be, you know, really intoxicating and fun.
Yeah, well, I think everyone listening will probably miss you doing, you know, some more of those gigs. So please let us know if anything like that is on the horizon. Are you have any new projects you're working on?
Yeah.
What's coming up? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I have we had a band called the Monks back before COVID days, and the drummer and the saxophonist both moved. So we have gained a new saxophone player and a new drummer, and we're under a new name because ironically our Facebook page got stolen by like a Vietnamese gardening page.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really random, but it did happen. That is a true fact.
Sorry to hear that.
So we had to remake our name. So we are now going by the Unpronounced, and we're actually playing our first gig under this new name on Tuesday, and we're hoping we might have a monthly residency at this Greek restaurant. But this is still in the talks. Okay. It's not official yet, so I'm not going to put a.
You don't want to talk too much about it.
No stamp on it yet because that might maybe hopefully coming soon.
Okay. Yeah. What's the name of the band again?
The Unpronounced.
Okay, gotcha. So everybody will be looking out for that in the San Diego general area. And they can look it up, sort of search you out online.
Yeah, it's a guitar, drums, bass, saxophone, and trombone. And we have a saxophonist who plays flute sometimes too, which is fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, so nice quintet.
Awesome. So as a leader in your own right, what are some of the specific challenges that you have encountered? Not necessarily in the jazz world, but just in general when it comes to the business aspect of it and putting the two sides together. In other words, have you found that there are certain roadblocks that maybe others may not have encountered? Have you found that maybe it was more a brown man, so to speak? I mean, what would you say about that?
I would say that there is some roadblocks as a brown man in the jazz scene, just because you're kind of not really expected to play jazz, so people, you know, kind of don't assume that you would be one of the players. Like, there's one other brown guy in the jazz scene here, Kusha, who's actually, you know, one of the drummers I play with, you know, and it's interesting how like we're the only two like, you know, like Middle Eastern or like brown guys in the scene. Mm-hmm. So I think, but I don't know if. I don't know if it's actually made it harder to like. I think the music scene is very open for the most part. There are some, you know, like there has been some like bands or venues that I've heard of having issues where they might have like a owner or something who's like, you know, maybe a little racist or whatnot. But I can't really say the full effect of which is affecting me because it's really hard to gauge.
Okay. This makes you better, right?
Yeah, it just
push harder.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's all we can do. Okay, so we know, or if not, people don't know that you have an amazing teacher yourself and have quite a bit of students. So what do you like better, teaching or being on the stage?
Definitely playing. Okay. I like teaching, but to be honest, it's only a means to an end. Mm-hmm. Teaching is a very steady way of making money, whereas gigging can come and go very easily, mm-hmm. especially like, you know, you can look at COVID, for example. There are a lot less gigs during the Omicron wave than there were before that or after. Like right now, there's more gigs than there were a few months ago. So it's teaching is just good to have that steady base, and it's also it is good. I do like teaching still. I just like performing more. I would like to get to the point where I have steady enough gigs to not teach, but I'm not too concerned about it for now because I know even the greatest players in town still teach to some level. You know? Sure. So, and I also don't want the teaching at a college or. I don't know. I was told by my teachers in college that if you want to play music, don't teach at a college. So yeah. I was like, well, if they're saying it, then you know they have to be right.
You're probably right. I talked to college for a minute and said, well, in a couple of years, well, let me get back out there and look at that.
Yeah.
But nothing against those that do that.
No.
Because it's very wise to have stability. You know what I mean? Especially if you're
yeah.
married or something, or you got bills, you want to be stable. We understand that. Not everybody is in a position to be able to do that.
And I've met a lot of people who also just they like teaching more. So that's cool. If you like teaching more and you want to teach more than you want to play, that's fantastic. That's not me personally, but nothing but respect for those who do.
Of course. Recording-wise, now we understand about your latest project.
Yes.
You know, you're establishing this residency, and that's very smart. That's the way to go. But recording-wise, what have you done lately? Now, I've done a few things with you over the years.
Yeah.
You've been on a few of my recordings. What are you working on in particular? Anything else?
Yeah, so the band, formerly the Monks, but now the Unpronounced, we have we recorded a bunch of songs back before COVID happened, and we want to make an EP out of it. But we have a few more songs we want to record. So we're actually going to hit the studio probably next month at Pacific Beat and do a few more tunes, and then hopefully have something to release soon. So it'll be nice to have a somewhat of a like a full EP with like 8 to 10 songs, pretty solid length. So yeah, and aside from that, I was also doing some just like home project recordings, you know, solo guitar and whatnot during like the lockdowns and whatnot. And
like almost everybody, right?
Yeah, like almost everybody, but trying to make some full-on guitar arrangements and whatnot, and it was pretty fun. I did a good one of Chick Corea's Armando's Roomba as a solo guitar piece, and I was pretty proud of that one. So
we're looking forward to hearing more of you, Shah.
Yes.
Appreciate you coming out today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, and blessings.
Blessings to you too.